Hey, good afternoon, family. It's King David, and I'm back after a long hiatus. It's been a lot of stuff going on, not only with myself, but also the world and the country at hand. And the reason why I really haven't done nothing for a minute is because everybody talks about the same shit. Everybody talks about the same shit, and I'm just not about that. Like, if I'm gonna come with anything, I'm gonna try to come with something different, come with a different perspective, a different topic, different subject matter. But it seems to me that every time I go on YouTube or see a video on Facebook or something, everybody's talking about the same stuff. So, my thing is, how long are we gonna keep regurgitating the same information? So that's the reason why I haven't personally done anything. But the reason why I'm here today, and it pains me to have to do this, but the reason why I'm here today is because over the past few weeks, and past that, but especially over the past few weeks, literally every time I go on YouTube, and I'm on YouTube, at least several times a day, I see another video of a black person and an African, Hebrew Israelite, conscious person, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to call yourselves or us. But every time I get online, man, I see somebody from our community, from the black African community, arguing and or calling out somebody else on the things that they have done. And it pains me to see this. It pains me to hear these type of things, because we can do better. We can do much, much better as a community, and more importantly as individuals, because solid individuals creates a solid community. And we seem to have lost that. But it seems to me that the more we become, quote, conscious, the more we fuss and fight and argue. And I mean, this is even within my own community where I'm at. There's a few brothers who I have been working close with over the past 8-9 months, who have done nothing but rob, cheated, stole, always passing the buck off on somebody else, always passing the blame off somebody else. And then when they argue and fuss and fight, when somebody call you out on your mess, me included, I call people out, hold them accountable. They want to get mad. And as a matter of fact, one of the brothers I was doing business with, I am no longer in business with, because of that same attitude. You don't want to learn. You don't want to open up your mind and your heart to learn something else. You're not trying to work with somebody. This individual basically just wants to run things and get the credit for it. And I see that a lot within our own community. Like, we want to show up and take credit for everything being done, but we don't want to put in, as my mentor would say, time tithing. and this is a older gentleman who grew up in the backwoods of Mississippi. Dirt roads, muddy roads, and all. Where your neighbor, your furthest neighbor, was a mile or two down the street, type of situation. So, like he says that nobody wants to put in no time tithing. Nobody wants to put in no hard work and effort, but they want to run things. And then people call you out. Then you get mad. And that's just my personal situation. I mean, within this week alone, I seen the brothers Red Pill and Blue Pill talking about Brother Plight. And some of the things that he's done and trying to hold him accountable and have a meeting with the Council of Elders, which, I mean, understandable. That is probably the most, I guess I'd say the most acceptable form of calling somebody out and holding them accountable for the things they have done. Because, I mean, personally, I have long suspected Brother Plight, just on certain things as far as like the status classes and, certain financial aspects weren't adding up for me. And this is not recently. This is something that I have been looking at for the past couple of years. I mean, the brother's got fantastic information. He knows his stuff, but as far as I'm concerned, I believe he's just another conscious hustler. And we have a lot of those in the community too, but that's a subject for another day. Then I see Yvette Cornell talking about Boyce Watkins and how she gave her all to build his platform and didn't get paid for it. And I can see the hurt and the pain in this sister's eyes, and in the way she presents her information, that there is a lot of truth to the situation. I can't say that everything she said was truth. I don't know. That's not my situation. I neither know Yvette Cornell or Boyce Watkins, but the thing about it is there is some concrete proof that I believe just based off of her emotions. And, maybe you might remember a few years ago, Boyce and Umar Johnson was going at it. And I did a video on that where I basically called both the brothers immature for calling each other out. Then I seen, who else I seen? I seen Tyreek and his co-host, Sarah, get into it about some stuff. And then he talked about it on the radio show, then turned right back around and did a whole nother video talking about it, which I didn't even listen to. I basically say that to say this. I'm sick of it all. Literally, man, I am sick of all of this foolishness, man. What the hell is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? We can't come together at all. We still having the same problems that we've been having. You think that we would have learned over the course of the years, but it seems like we haven't learned anything. When we do our church service, we do it in a manner to where we have what we call a traditional worship service, and then the communion meditation, and then the lesson, and then usually the contribution. There's usually a meditation for the contribution as well. And one of the things that I was thinking about this morning that I mentioned in the offering meditation is, some of us call ourselves black. Some of ourselves call ourselves Hebrew Israelites. Some of us believe we're Muslims. Some of us believe we're Christians. Some of us are atheists. Some of us are conscious. Some of us don't subscribe to any of those labels. But the fact of the matter is, regardless of your division, we're still one community. We're still one people. If you look at the dichotomy of black Africans versus everybody else, their nationality comes first. Like, if you look at white folk, you have they're French, they're German, they're American, they're this and they're that. But at the end of the day, they are the greater white community. It's the same with Asians. They're Asian. Now, Asians might not get along with other Asians. Chinese and Koreans don't really get along like that. But they're still Asians. Even within China, you have people from, Hong Kong. You got people from the Shaanxi province. I don't know if that's real, but, it sounds like some Chinese shit, okay? You got people from this province and that province, but they still Chinese. They might practice Buddhism, they might practice Christianity, but they still Chinese. And they will come together, especially when it comes to everybody else. When it's an issue to where it's affecting the greater Asian community, they will come together and they will be Asian. They will no longer be Korean and they will no longer be Taiwanese. They will no longer be Chinese, Japanese. They Asian. They the greater Asian community. You don't see other folk fighting and bickering. And majority of the stuff that I see that we're fighting over is some dumb shit. And all of it stems from your lack of education. And what I mean by that is that the definition of education is to bring yourself out of ignorance. You're supposed to educate yourself. When you know better, you're supposed to do better. And a lot of us know better, or we claim we know better, but we don't do better. My thing is, if you are going to study something in order to make yourself better, then you need to spiritually accept the teachings that you are studying into your heart and into your mind, into your spirit, in order to make yourself better, which is why we are in the situations that we're in. You see what I'm saying? If that makes sense, it's all about bettering yourself and making yourself whole, which is the premise of, which is the premise of the gospel of commitment that I came up with. It's all about trying to make yourself better, and then making yourself better, you can in turn make your community better. But it seems like we're either too busy fighting amongst each other to make the community better, or we're doing as many people like to do. We read a couple books. You read a book by Neely Fuller, and you read 2 or 3 other books, and now all of a sudden you the scholar on all things. Nigga, I'm studying. I did this and I did that, and I know more than you. You wouldn't, if you was truly practicing the principles of our ancestors, you would not act the way you do. You would not fleece your brother. You would not fleece your sister. You would not act the way you do. I'm not saying we're perfect, because we're not. And honestly, perfection is a finish line that you'll never reach. But it's all about doing better. And we definitely can't do better when we're putting all our business out in the streets. And not only we putting our business on the street, we fighting amongst each other. Why are we constantly fighting amongst each other? Let's get back to my personal situation. My mentor, one of the elders that I have been working with over the past decade, was talking to this brother who was supposed to be working with us, the one who used to be my business partner, and he was just speaking in some general principles, giving some general examples, because like he told the brother, this is not personal, because the things that he was saying about him, but it was a generalization. And he kind of want to get in his feelings, and he like, brother, this is not a personal conversation. If it was a personal conversation, it'd be me, you, and the walls. This is not. This is a public discussion. This is just general stuff that I'm speaking on. If some of the things that I'm speaking on hits you, then you just need to take it as a man, suck it up, learn from it, and do better. Make yourself better. But he didn't want to do that. Even as an elder, like, you know, me and my mentor, family friend, we don't agree on everything. There's some stuff I don't agree with him on. But I'm not going to challenge him. I'm just going to keep what he told me in mind as I go forward in the way in which I think is the best way personally. I mean, 9 times out of 10, most of the stuff he says comes to pass. You know, the other 1/10 of the time, you know, not so much. But even still, he wants to challenge him. Well, I've been doing this, and I've been doing that, and then me and the brother David, like, hold up, why you dropping my name in this conversation? Like, me and you was getting together and doing some stuff, like, you know, and I've talked to the brother. We've had arguments, we've had disagreements, and this is over the course of just him being here within the church doing community work. Certain conversations, he want to get mad about some stuff, or he don't want to own up to his shortcomings or his wrongdoings. Everything is everybody else's fault, or he want to always shift the narrative or shift the conversation onto somebody else instead of standing in your truth and putting your big girl panties on, as Iyanla Van Zant likes to say. This brother, in particular, we had it out quite a few times. And one of the things that was discussed with the brother initially before coming here was, we're looking for somebody to help relieve the stress off of Brother Lawrence. Brother Lawrence is my mentor. He's the pastor of the congregation. He's so many things because, again, the people are many, but the workers are few. So he, like I, have had to spend countless hours down here. And I mean, I can't even compare him to I, because he spent probably well over $100,000, $200,000 trying to keep this ministry running for the community. And, you know, that's not including all the work, maintenance, labor work that's been done, all the mopping of the floors, all the cleaning of the toilets. And I do that as well, but because I have a job I have to go to, and then I have my other side ventures and other things that I have to do, I can't do that the way I would like to. You know, and it actually hurts my heart that I can't do those things. But I understand that, one, I have other things that I have to do, and two, if you go too hard, this place will wear you out, because literally we're in a campus. We're in an old Catholic campus with a church, a school, and 2 residential buildings. The campus is huge, and it takes a lot to keep this place up with just a few little people that we have. And one of the things that was addressed to the brother We need somebody to help clean, to help cut grass, to help trim the bushes, to help do some other stuff around here. And then here you come. Well, I did so and so, and me and David and blase, but I'm like, bro, the reality is you haven't done with that. But then he want to talk about another brother who is no saint by any means. You know, he's a nice brother, but he another one of them dudes who we let in and gave the keys to the kingdom. Be like, hey, this is what we're dealing with. This is what we need. He hasn't done it either, but here comes the other brother wanting to call the pot and, you know, wanting to call the kettle black when you the pot and you just as black as the kettle. And then they got into an argument outside of the church building, no less. And I keep asking, like, why do we as a community keep fighting? Why? Why are we constantly fighting and arguing and bickering amongst each other? That's why I mentioned in my contribution meditation, because I want our people to understand this is a vehicle in order to rescue the north side of St. Louis, the north side of town, the North St. Louis City. And like I say, we've been here for 11 years, but it takes a lot of resources. It takes a lot of time and energy to keep this place going. So I want our members and the community to understand that it takes a village to keep this place going. So that's why I say it doesn't matter if you have $1, if you give $5, if you call it offering, if you call it crowdfunding, if you call it contribution, it's all the same. We're all working towards the same goals. And I could be wrong, but I mean, I feel that based off of some of the things that we have been working on and some of the things that I said in my contribution meditation, contribution went up. And it's the highest I have seen in a while. We don't have that many people, but they felt compelled to give because we're all working towards the same goal. Our goal is to get this place running, to be a community center, to be a place for the community. We already run community programs and we already do other things around here, but it takes a lot of resources to keep this place going. And we want to use this place to help rescue the north side of St. Louis. We're all working towards the same goal. We all have the same agenda. We don't have to have the same beliefs, despite what a lot of people think. We don't have to have the same beliefs. You could be an Israelite. You could be a Muslim. You could be a Buddhist, the Taoist, the Satanist, the atheist, the Christianist. I don't care what you are. Malcolm X said, when you come to build with the family, with the community, you leave your religion at home in the closet. Leave it at home in the closet. This is what Malcolm X said. Now, that's not what he said verbatim, but you get the gist of it. That's what he said. When you come to build, leave your religion at home in the closet. We all fighting for the same goal. We all frogs in a boiling pot of hot water. Well, it ain't even boiling. Well, it is boiling. We as black people, I'm not sure if any of you are familiar with frogs, like how to cook frogs. Well, what they do, they'll take frogs that they've captured and they'll put them in a pot of cold water. And the frogs don't think nothing of it. Then they'll turn the burners on, and as the heat starts to rise, frogs' bodies naturally adjust to the temperature. Well, after the temperature gets so hot, they've been cooked. So I say that to say this. We as black folk have been sitting in the pot of water, and the pot of water is now boiling. It's boiling. It's roaring. It's going. And we're still sitting here fighting amongst each other, even in the era of Trump. Even after all the things that occurred under Obama and Nixon and Clinton and Reagan and Lincoln and Washington and all the rest of them motherfuckers. We still here trying to figure out who gonna get out the damn pot of water, and we just don't know that we are all boiling together. We still fighting, and for what? What has all of this infighting accomplished? Infighting never accomplishes anything. Look at the Hatfields and McCoys. They was fighting for years and years, and there was plenty that died on both sides. Useless, senseless. And eventually they got over it. Eventually people put their differences aside and will build for the greater cause, but we can't seem to do that. We can't seem to soak in the knowledge that our ancestors have left to us in order to make ourselves better. I understand that you can really only fix yourself. I get it. I understand. And in making yourself whole, the people that you attract will be whole too, for the most part. But you're always going to have those people who just won't seem to get right. Don't seem like they want to do better. It pains me because we so smart, yet so dumb. The black community is much like a lot of these females out here. Nigga done beat you, man beat you, cheated on you, did all type of things, wrecked your car, fucked up your credit. But you still love, no, I still love him. He means the world to me, but you just won't do right. And then when you say something to him, I say something to females about the poor decisions that they make, and they be like, well, I know. And I be like, you know, but are you doing? That's the question that needs to be answered, and they get silent. And that's my call to action for us. You know better. You done studied. You done been there. Even if you don't study, you see what's going on out here. You know better. But are you doing better? Are you trying to do better? Are you working towards it? Even if it's little baby steps. Even if I give $1 and there's 29 other people in the room, they give $1. That's $30 between the 30 of us. We know better. But are we doing better? Those are the things that I just want answered, man. Those are just things that I wanted to put out there. They say when you know better, you do better. And it don't seem like we as Africans grasp that concept. Even after our African ancestors died. Even after our Australian and Tasmanian ancestors have died. Even after our Asian ancestors and our American ancestors, both North and South, have died. Even as people have given their lives for the struggle. Dr. Francis Quest Welsing, Claude Anderson, Neely Fuller. People have given themselves to the struggle, have written books, have put their lives on the line for us to get us information to help us do better, but we just don't seem to get it. Either we have selective hearing or selective understanding, or maybe we as black people have just given up. Maybe we're just tired. I understand we have been fighting since the first invaders have hit Africa, I believe about over 3,000 years ago. We have been fighting since then. But at some point, you got to turn the war around. At some point, you got to stop and say, we're doing something wrong. In order to win this war, we need to change our strategy. And the first thing that we need to do, family, we need to start fighting and bickering amongst each other. If you can't work with somebody, fine. Go your separate ways. But there's no need to go on YouTube, go on the internet, and bash your other brothers and sisters. Just doesn't make any sense. That's all I wanted to say. I just all I wanted to get off my chest, man. It really hurts my heart when I see other black folk fighting amongst each other. Even me. I thought my situation was going to be a little bit different. I gave the brother every opportunity to win, and he just didn't seem like he was happy. He wanted to take over the company, even though that we was in it together. So I had to cut him loose. And then he got mad, and that brother owed me some money. And I should bust his head wide open, but if I do that, I'm no better than him. And I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make that change. I'm going to look at the man in the mirror, and I'm going to start with myself. Peace.